On the morning of August 6, 1945, Hiroshima woke like any other city at war. The sky was clear, the air was warm. People went about their routines with the dull caution of a nation already exhausted by years of bombing. Students were mobilized to clear fire breaks. Office workers prepared for another day under the shadow of sirens. No one knew that in a few seconds, the city would cross a line in human history from which there would be no return. At 8:15 a.m., the world changed. A single flash brighter than the sun exploded above Hiroshima. In an instant, heat hotter than anything humans had ever created tore through streets, homes, bodies. Buildings collapsed as if made of paper. Shadows were burned into stone. People closest to the center vanished completely, leaving no trace except outlines where they had stood. The city did not burn like other bombed cities. It was erased, rewritten into something unrecognizable. In the silence that followed the blast, Hiroshima became a place beyond language. Among the survivors was a man named Yoshito Matsushige, a photographer who would unknowingly become the keeper of one of the most important visual records in human history. On that day, in a city of tens of thousands of dead and dying, he took the only known photographs made inside Hiroshima immediately after the atomic bombing. It was not because he did not want to take more. It was because he could not. Matsushige later said that every time he raised his camera, his hands shook so violently that he could barely press the shutter. What he was seeing overwhelmed his body and his mind. He would lift the camera, look through the lens, and freeze. The suffering in front of him was too raw, too close, too unbearable. Each photograph he managed to take required immense effort, as if he were forcing himself to document something the human soul was not meant to witness. One of the places he photographed was Miyuki Bridge. Before the bomb, Miyuki Bridge was ordinary, a simple crossing over a river. After the bomb, it became something else entirely. Survivors began to gather there instinctively, drawn by water, by open space, by the faint hope of relief. The river promised cooling for burned skin. The bridge offered a place to collapse, to wait, to breathe if breathing was still possible. Matsushige would later describe Miyuki Bridge as a bridge between life and death. In his photographs, figures sit and lie in silence, their clothes are burned away. Their skin hangs loose, peeling, blistered, blackened, some are children. Many are students who had been mobilized for war work that morning. They are alive, but barely. Their faces show shock rather than pain, as if their bodies have not yet informed their minds of what has happened. Some would die within hours, others would live long enough to realize they were forever changed. Modern forensic analysis of Matsushige's photographs reveals details that words alone cannot carry. The burns are not random. They show patterns caused by the flash itself, by clothing, by shadows cast in the instant of detonation. Some victims have darker skin where fabric shielded them briefly, lighter where it did not. These marks became known as flash burns, signatures of a weapon unlike any other. Radiation, invisible and silent, had already begun its work. Many survivors who appeared uninjured at first would later collapse. Hair fell out, gums bled. Fever set in, people vomited endlessly. Doctors, themselves wounded, had no understanding of what they were facing. Hospitals were destroyed. Medicine was gone. There were no treatments for radiation sickness because no one had ever experienced it on this scale before. The city was filled with the sound of quiet suffering. There were no screams like in conventional bombings. Many victims were too weak to cry out. They moved slowly, arms stretched forward, skin dangling from fingertips, eyes swollen shut. Survivors later said they looked like ghosts, walking without purpose, drawn toward water, toward shade, toward nothing at all. Those who lived would carry the memory for the rest of their lives. The Hibakusha, the survivors of the atomic bomb, did not only suffer physically. They carried psychological wounds that never healed. Nightmares, survivors' guilt, the memory of loved ones turning to ash, the smell of burned flesh that never truly left their senses. Even decades later, many could not speak of that day without trembling. And after the war, their suffering did not end. Hibakusha were often stigmatized. People feared they carried disease. Employers hesitated to hire them. Marriage prospects vanished. Many survivors hid their pasts, carrying their trauma in silence. The bomb did not stop killing when the blast faded. It followed them through their lives, in illness, in discrimination, in memory. Matsushige himself lived with regret. He often said he wished he had taken more photographs. Not for himself, but for the future, he understood that memory fades, that numbers become abstract, that without images, the horror could be softened or denied. Yet he also knew why he could not take more. The weight of what he saw was simply too much. Those few photographs, blurred and imperfect, became sacred evidence. They do not show explosions or mushroom clouds, they show the aftermath. Human beings sitting on a bridge, stripped of everything except their suffering. They show what nuclear war actually means, not in theory, not in strategy rooms, but on the ground, inside bodies, inside minds. As survivors aged, many chose to speak, not out of bitterness, but out of responsibility. They told their stories to children, to researchers, to the world. Not to assign blame, but to warn. Again and again, they said the same thing: never again. Hiroshima was not just a city destroyed. It was a message written in flesh and fire. The atomic bomb introduced a cruelty that does not distinguish between soldier and student, between morning routine and instant death. It collapses time, erases choice, and leaves scars that outlive generations. Matsushige's photographs and the voices of those who survived stand as proof that nuclear war is not simply a weapon. It is a human catastrophe beyond comparison. Miyuki Bridge still exists. People cross it every day. The river still flows beneath it, but for those who know its history, it remains a place where life paused, where the future of humanity revealed its darkest possibility. The survivors are growing fewer now. Their voices see the end of their own lives approaching. What remains are their words, their images, and their plea to the world. Remember what happened here. Remember the faces on that bridge. Remember what human beings are capable of creating, and what they must never allow themselves to use again.